the way you should be, almost, and questioning your self-worth. And I mean, women are just so conditioned to rely on others for validation and for their self-esteem. And it's really sad, because then you have this like kind of codependence in relationships of like, well, if he's not giving me, or, you know, even in, you know, we're not talking just about like straight relationships, but like if your partner's not like giving you
all sections of what you need.
Exactly. Like if they're not feeding your soul in all these different areas, then
Sections.
That's what I was saying earlier too.
Well, I mean, sex is a big part, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
That's what I was saying though. That, you know, God is very important too, because, you know, if your significant other isn't giving you those at all times, because, you know, not because they're mean to you or anything, but sometimes they forget, you know. You need like I feel like God kind of balances it out and helps you with reassurance and in realization of knowing who you are.
I
you
didn't
know?
say the female brain is rational by any means, because that's just irrational to
Well,
have the codependence, and
that's
I
I
agree
think
with you.
I think that's just human nature.
Yeah,
for,
it is.
for most people, honestly.
It is. We all want to be desired. We all want to be wanted and feel like we have a place, that we're a part of this kind of like society. And
Wouldn't you say, though, that guy could take that information, or some do, and manipulate? Because my daughter was in a really toxic relationship where he was promising her that, like, crazy things, like he's going to get married and he's going to have kids with her, and the guy was just cheating on her. But he knew how to manipulate her based on the affirmations and things that she needs.
And that's exactly like my ex. He would promise me things like, you know, we're going to buy a house together, we're going to have kids, we're going to get married.
He's fulfilling this fantasy that doesn't really exist.
And that's why it stuck around for so long, and that's why so many women do, because they see the prospect of what their life could look like if they stayed with this person. But at the same time, like, actions speak louder than words. I feel like if you're going to like, don't tell me that you're going to propose to me like 6 times, just do it. Like,
yeah, that's
you know
weird.
what I mean? Like, don't make empty promises. Just do it. Like, move it. Like, for the big things in life, I feel like move in silence and show us what you've been working on, rather than talking it up, and maybe only accomplishing like a fraction of it, or like not even trying to accomplish it.
Right.
Like, don't be a talker, be a doer.
Don't be a talker, be a doer.
Damn.
Wow.
She's got some high expectations for you guys out there. Don't talk about it, be about it.
I think that's good for men to have that mentality and make sure that they understand that that's how they should move forward, and that's how they should treat a woman in a relationship.
Yeah, of course, because like I said, we don't care about everything else. We care about how you make us feel. If you make us feel secure in the relationship, like, you don't need to promise us all these things. If you're showing us that you're working towards it, you know, maybe you're still in school. Like, I mean, we're all kind of like young here. Your daughters are younger. Like, maybe the person that they're with is like still in school. They're working towards a degree, and they want to do A, B, and C with their life. Right. Right.
They have a future they're trying to build.
Exactly. Is it more useful to promise that, oh, I'm going to get to here, and then when I get to here, then we will have this? Or is it more useful to show her how hard you're working towards your goals?
Right.
And to be like, I don't know, like, because it's very difficult to have these promises and give people expectations, and then you become accountable to them. Right?
So you're saying if the guy misses the mark of the things that he promised, he's basically being judged at that moment.
Yep, automatically. I feel like
it's almost like, okay, well, I can't trust you. I can't trust that what you promised me is going to ever come to fruition.
God forbid you say something that you don't do. You know.
Well,
I'm not going there.
If you say you're gonna take out the trash and do the dishes, and then you come, and then, you know, your wife, your girlfriend comes home, and they're like, well, shit, the dishes are still in the sink.
Yeah.
The trash is
He's
still
sitting
full
on the
in
couch.
the bin, and he's got his socks on the floor, and he's snoring on the couch. Like, okay, I guess I can't rely on him. And that's a big thing. I feel like if you have building a partnership with somebody, like, you will have to rely on each other. here and there.
Right.
You have to lean on each other to build whatever you want to build, whether that be a family, an empire, whatever.
Yeah.
Accountability
Is huge.
But guys can also be really great, and then you have kids, and then things turn south, and they're not the same person that they were.
Yeah.
That's happened a lot in relationships.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have experience with that.
Well, I have a
You
lot of
give us
friends
a
that
little.
have been in divorces, and that's the scenario. And they come to me and they're like, their complaint is they're not getting enough sex. That's reality. That's all my good friends.
After they have kids.
After they have kids, it goes south, and they're like, well, she's just not. And what's weird for guys, and Victor, you can agree or disagree here, but is that we get our affirmations also, at least from my perspective, from like a sexual relationship and having that. It's like a bond that we're building together, as two humans. And when you do that, it's almost like you don't want me. You're not attracted to me anymore. That you've lost it all.
Definitely, if that it does slow down, it can definitely affect your mental state, thinking and
something's wrong.
Exactly, like, oh, she's not attracted to me anymore or something, or like what am I doing, But sometimes I don't know, maybe it's beyond me, honestly. I don't know the answer to it, but sometimes you just got to be patient. And I understand the females go through a lot of shit with like the periods and everything. I understand. I wouldn't want to go through that either. And so sometimes you just got to sit back and just be like, all right.
No. So I just want to clarify here so that the guys that came to me were like months that there was no sexual relationship.
Months.
And are you talking about like probably like after kids, like postmenopausal, or like during menopause, like there's hormonal changes?
No,
most likely.
all these women were still
young,
30s,
younger,
younger in their primes. But I mean, they probably, each one is different. But the two that I'm thinking of, they were together for at least 10 years.
Okay, and then just all of a sudden after kids,
they just stopped. One was because she was cheating. And then the other one was because she wasn't interested anymore.
Well, if she was cheating, that might be a reason why she didn't want to have sex with him.
That one makes more sense.
There's a whole lot of reasons that I feel like that women would stop cheating. Absolutely, there's one. But like, if she just lost interest, there could be like other things. Like there's like, I feel like people minimize like postpartum depression a lot, and that can last years.
It really can.
So like, if they had kids and her entire mental state has shifted.
Yeah.
Like, of course, having sex isn't probably on her mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
depression
think
is
one thing there.
really bad because, how can somebody think about being sexually pleased when they're mad or like sad about life in general? They can't find anything positive. It's not really going to be a big turn on. Even thinking about anything sexually. But for your buddies, like you said, months, that could be tough for somebody, and then you don't always see those two sides to the story. And so then if he were to go off and do his own thing, he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy. He went off and he cheated and everything.
Well, I think he's bad because he tried to fill that spot, even though the relationship was good enough. I faulted him, at the time and said, that wasn't the right approach. That's not what you should be doing. But, he went off and went down that road and basically found a solution to fill the hole that was missing, but didn't want to sever the relationship with the woman he had kids with.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what you're saying, but
Are
no.
you saying that he moved on and like got a different partner? Are you saying that he like moved on and like he found somebody else?
He didn't move on and find somebody else. He just filled the sexual part of the relationship.
He found somebody to have sex with.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wrong.
But he doesn't want. Yeah. It is wrong. But he doesn't want to ruin the full relationship of the person that he has kids with.
I get that, but at that point the relationship's already ruined because then the trust is broken.
Yeah, the trust is gone.
But as like, what you're saying, months? What are we talking, like 3 months, 6 months?
Oh, months. Like he didn't get very specific, but I know it was more than 3 months.
More than 3 months. Like, my question is like, did he even try to like maybe go to couples therapy?
That's a good question. I never got that deep into it. I didn't ask him, but my guess would be probably not.
3 months.
You
I
see,
feel like
it's
that's
like-
not I'm like personally that's not enough
No,
time.
you've
3
been with
months. I
someone for
feel like
10
you
years.
you could handle that. I feel like if your significant other's going through something and you can't wait 3 months, like any type of depression usually would last.
To be fair, I don't want to get into specifics, but I know for sure that she wasn't going through anything at all.
Oh, okay.
That you know of.
That's true. That's
You know,
fair.
you never-
That's a fair
you never
point.
know.
Shanti,
You really never
Shanti's
know.
backing her up. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, she could have been going through something, but I also interacted with her and whatnot, and the way that he explained it was she just wasn't into, like, sex wasn't a big part of her.
It wasn't important to her.
It wasn't important to her. Yeah.
But had it been previously, or was it never really
I wonder if he
important part?
recognized that. Probably not.
It probably was never important to her.
Okay.
But she did it, because they're in a relationship and whatnot. Once they had kids and shit, she's like, okay,
like,
we
there's
have
no
the kids.
reason.
There's no reason to anymore. And he's just like,
Yeah.
please, no.
Well, I worked with a guy, and I remember, I'll tell you the story real quick. We were working together, and his name was Roy, and I was like, Roy, what you seem pissed today. You're all upset. What's going on? And he says, he's not getting sex from his partner. And I'm like, you're getting married in 30 days. That's not a good sign right off the bat. So, where I'm going with this is, for you as a woman, how important is that? And where does that fall, from a woman's perspective? Do you feel like you're just doing it just to satisfy the man, or what's your perspective?
No. Oh my God.
I get that
No,
everyone's different, right?
Everyone is different, but I think that in that statement where you're saying what to satisfy the man, right? I feel like that is how sex is so commonly thought of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's not intimate anymore.
It's not intimate anymore. It's transactional, and I just don't. And I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe to that mentality.
That sounds too.
It's
like it has a system to it. And
what are we just saying? He found somewhere else his friend found somewhere else to go because he wasn't getting sex. If she would have just had sex with him, then he would have he would have responded to that effort with continuing their current relationship. It is transactional.
It is. And I think for her, even if she was having sex with him, I believe that it was, like you said, transactional, and it was never intimate based on the conversations with both of them that I had. So it's not like it was healthy in any way.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like the relationship was going to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. They both weren't trying, not just from sexual, but like you said, this wasn't like he was going out and buying flowers, and like it was unhealthy for both sides.
Hey, flowers aren't always the answer. A guy bought me a pineapple and I was swept off my feet.
I think my
Where's
wife
that
would throw
today?
the pineapple at me.
Unfortunately, we had to move on from
He's
that
no
relationship.
longer with
No
us.
more pineapple, man.
But hey, he was the best fruit guy. He brought me a watermelon too.
He was a fruity guy.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's just, for me, it's kind of weird. It's like, why are you buying her fruit?
Because it's yummy.
Well, it's
I'm
yummy,
a vegetarian.
but
I eat a
you
lot
gotta-
of fruit and veggies.
no, that makes sense.
It spoke to my soul. It doesn't have to
They
speak
say
to everyone's
they
soul,
say
just mine.
there's weird
That's
little myths about pineapples too, and so maybe he was indirectly trying to tell you something.
Jason
Like
has
an
his mouth
emoji?
open.
I'm a little confused over here. Wait, where are we going with this?
Victor, would you like to explain?
I want you to explain to
no.
Jason.
Jason.
Man, I don't like being the older generation here. I don't understand.
Eating a lot of pineapple is supposed to make your secretions taste better.
Really? Is that proven?
I don't know if it is, but I mean, I still buy pineapple juice.
It's very acidic. I mean, but I guess I'm gonna
they
look
say.
that one up later because that's a little odd.
So
Yeah.
maybe he was, I don't know,
I don't know.
subconsciously trying to say something. I don't know.
What do you mean?
He's like, let's cut this pineapple up right now.
Ew. I'll be right back. I gotta go gag in the bathroom.
So, wow. This took a really hard turn here at this point.
You asked me if sex matters as much to women, basically. And I think, yes, everyone's different. Men and women are different in their individual relationships. Personally, I think it's very important. Just in that previous relationship, I'm going to reference that. Like, he did withhold sex when he was, like, upset with me. Like, he would have sex with everybody but me.
Ooh.
You know? So, like...
That's messed up.
It was, yeah. Like, there would be weeks, months. I think the longest we went was like 2 months.
And this is the...
I think my wife would
guy
murder
that
me
went-
over that.
The guy that went overseas? Or
Yeah.
whatever? What the
Yeah,
hell?
like he like there would be weeks where like he would withhold sex and he'd be like, I just don't feel like it. And me, I'm like respectful. I'm like, I'm never going to try to pressure somebody. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Like,
I mean, you
don't care.
I
But,
didn't
like,
know. I didn't know
after-
pressuring worked the other way for guys.
yeah, it doesn't that I know of.
Yeah, because I didn't grow up
Well-
that way.
Yeah, but he would communicate to me like, hey, like you asking me makes me feel uncomfortable.
As your boyfriend?
What?
Yeah.
As your boyfriend, he said that.
Yeah. He would
What?
tell
Wait, are
me
we talking
that-
about the same guy that?
Yes.
Wow.
We're talking about the same guy. So just coming from that kind of perspective of like not feeling wanted, I think that now in my current relationships, that is a very big element for me of like I need to feel wanted. Otherwise, like we don't need to be together.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'm not saying like I have to rip your clothes off and you don't have to rip mine like every other day, like but just have that there. Like have that kind of passion of and intimacy there. Like
From a guy's perspective, I mean, yeah, some of us are built that way. We would prefer to have you rip our clothes off every day.
well, that's great to know.
Yeah.
All right.
Men think like that. Like that's I think women tend to forget that, and this is my opinion, but that we're built that way, and sometimes we tend to forget that you have needs that need to be filled outside of the sexual part of it.
And inside of the sexual part of it too. Guys are so selfish in bed.
Oof.
Oh my god, that's why I got
You
so
talking about like Minutemen?
I think that's what she's talking about.
I mean,
Okay, Jason, I'm going to go back to your statement of satisfying the man.
okay.
This is a really big thing for me. I was literally talking about it last night with the trainer at my gym of how men use foreplay to satisfy their own needs.
Okay.
Right? The object of foreplay, like for a female, is to lubricate her enough for entry.
Yeah.
Right?
In theory.
Right? So that's the
Technically.
idea. It's not really for her pleasure.
Yeah.
It's so that they can penetrate.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this as like
Yeah, I'm wondering
clinical
where
I'm
you're
as
loving the
possible.
technical term.
where you're
Like,
going with this is what I'm trying to figure out.
because it's when like a girl will go down on a guy
Okay.
and that's not for her pleasure. Right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
That is not for her. That is for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But like opposite, a guy will go down on a girl just to get her wet enough so he can go in. It's not for her pleasure. It's for the object of penetration.
Mm.
I can argue that sometimes the girl does the same thing though.
Okay.
Only going down and yeah.
Okay. I can see
Not
that.
like fully satisfying
But-
the person.
But too often there's not even any foreplay for women, and it's just like that's uncomfortable, and there's no thought. Like I don't know how to explain.
No,
it.
I
Do
know
you
where you're
understand what
going
I'm
with that.
saying?
I mean, the bottom line is a lot of men don't get women off. And
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
bring this up, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
When I moved out to Vegas and I worked out there, I was there for 6 years. I had some friends, and she was like, we would go over, we'd have like a UFC night, and it was pretty cool. And the wife just out of the blue, she's like, he doesn't get me off right in front of him. And I'm like, I mean, I
my
literally,
goodness
I had a
gracious.
beer and I spit my beer everywhere, all over their couch. And I was like, I didn't know what to say. And I was like, okay, that's a problem. You probably need to work out in the bedroom. That's not something I want to know about, right?
Oh my goodness.
But she was like, well, I've got my vibrator. And I'm like, oh, listen, no.
Then you don't need
we're
him,
just
honey,
watching
for
the fight.
anything.
We're just trying to watch
Yeah.
the fights right now.
Yeah,
like-
I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, this is awkward.
Oh my
looking
God.
at my wife, she's looking at me like, I don't know. I'm like, but it's funny because I tagged along with him to like help somebody move, as it was a friend of his, and we had conversation, and I'm like, dude, you've gotta satisfy her, and you're doing it wrong. And I'm telling you as your friend, like, you gotta get down there, and you gotta, if you can't perform, you gotta do the work. You gotta put the work in. You gotta put the effort in.
Other work. Yeah.
and
You gotta
and every
do something.
and you don't want to do it one time and then you start getting laxed. Like, this is the way I think of it. Every time I go in, right, I'm trying to hit the next level, right? It's like a game. I'm like, okay,
You're trying to slay the dragon.
I'm in it
gracious.
to win it, and if I can't win it, why am I bothering?
Yep.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's so far after 20 years has worked. But the bottom line is that most men, like her ex-boyfriend, my wife has told me her ex-boyfriend, she was like 1 minute, and I'm like, 1 minute? Mm-hmm. How? Like 60 seconds? Are we talking about the same minute?
You can't even like as
How?
a man, I wouldn't even allow myself to do that. Like
I
I'll
don't-
just be like, hold up, time out. Like I need to just breathe for a second. Like I couldn't do that. That's so selfish. I feel like.
I'm not even sure how it happened. Like, I'm not even sure that, like, sounds to me like you've had experience with men that have had that problem.
Sorry.
That was deep.
Oh my God.
Would that
I
be?
don't think that it's fair to talk about that because I don't know who's listening.
That's true. That's fair.
I don't know who's listening. I don't know if any
I'm
of
talking
my
about
past
years
partners-
back. There might be a partner that maybe you've had a scenario where has happened. But are you saying that?
It's more often than not where men are very selfish in bed.
Really?
More often than not. Yeah, I would say.
I am surprised to hear that because that's the opposite of I need to teach you guys some stuff, man.
Okay,
Let's
that's
start
your
another
private
YouTube channel.
Private YouTube channel.
That
for
one's
Jason.
not for kids, by the way.
That's the OnlyFans.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely not.
Oh my God.
But in reality, like, that's an important part of the relationship for a woman.
It speaks to reciprocity, and that is something I'm super big about in relationships.
Really?
Like reciprocity in every aspect.
You don't think that you could teach the man to get better and they just don't have the experience?
Men must be teachable, but like I was saying earlier about stubbornness and not wanting to take any sort of
direction.
input, direction, anything.
All right.
It's like if you're not teachable, like if you're gonna stay this person for the next 5-10 years, like
That doesn't
I'd rather
work.
see you grow into a much better person. Not saying that you're a bad person now, but like we all want to grow into better people, right?
So
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in that relationship where, let's just say you're already in the relationship, but the sex is stale, like if you're not getting exactly what you need,
Define stale.
stale as in he's not getting her off, right?
There's,
Okay.
Like no
Okay.
passion. It's like
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of,
So
habitual.
how long do you wait to communicate that, or just cut off the relationship and
Or cut off the sex, which might have been happening to the other men that I'm talking about. Maybe they cut it off, and I don't
The women
know.
cut it off because
Maybe
they
they cut
weren't
it
getting
off.
what they wanted.
Yeah.
And oh, that would actually make a lot of sense because I feel like going back to your question, like
talking to the mic.
oh sorry so sorry guys, going back to your question, Victor, it's like I think it really depends on the duration of the relationship. Like if the sex is the defining moment for you where you're like, no, the sex is bad, like I don't want to be with this person, then you probably didn't like them that much in the first place, honestly.
But what I'm asking is, like, what if they are doing everything else good and like they are your you love everything about them, but like that one part was, they weren't satisfying
Horrible.
all your needs. Would you communicate with them and tell them, like, I need this to improve? Like, because I I
Yeah.
love you and everything.
Of course, I think that's really important, and I feel like a lot of women feel uncomfortable speaking up when it comes to their like sexual preferences, just because it's like it's not always received well.
I don't
Like
think
it's,
they should be though.
but I feel like a lot of guys could receive that as like, oh well, like she's telling me I'm bad in bed.
That's good. If you're bad in bed,
You
you're
want to
bad
know
in bed.
if you're
Okay.
bad,
I
you
wanna
would
know.
want
That's
to
good to
know.
know. That's good to
Yeah.
know though, because I've like held off on like
No.
maybe like speaking up
Mm-mm.
because I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt this dude's feelings. Like I don't want to like.
No.
You're hurting
Well,
him
it
in the
depends
long
on how
run.
yeah, that too. And you're not
Yeah.
helping him that if he moves on to another relationship that he's gonna you're training him to be better in a way if he's not gonna be with you.
Yeah. So what you're saying is always tell him if the sex was bad.
I think it depends on how you tell him. If you're
Okay.
like, okay, this isn't working, Mr. Minuteman, like that's gonna hurt his
That's rude,
feelings.
yeah.
Right. That's straight up wrong. But if you're like, hey, look, I just I guess I'm trying to formulate how would be Victor, help me here. What would be the right approach for a woman to tell you you ain't doing it right?
Would you rather them like wait until like they were done with sex, or like maybe like as you guys are like like getting into it, getting like hot and heavy, then her being like, hey, can you
Maybe
do
they need to
this?
slow down.
I think the best way for a woman to let a guy know would probably be during,
Mm-hmm.
like baby steps, like take one step at a time. Do this,
Mm-hmm.
do this different.
Within a 60-second time frame, though.
I know, because you only got 60
You only got
seconds.
60 seconds. It's sad, but I mean it's how it is.
Okay, we're
If honestly, if that's the maximum amount that you like, there's no more past 60 seconds.
Yeah.
I would say like, okay, you have to do it the other way.
yeah.
Get me,
yeah.
finish me, and then you'll get your 60 seconds. Like that would be the only.
I thought that was the only way.
I got the most hilarious advice from someone at the gym because I was talking about this to her, and she told me, she's like, you should never let a guy enter you if he hasn't at least finished you off over the course of like a week or like 3 or 4 times. You should never let him even enter. And I was like, okay,
Jeez,
I like this perspective now. Now my standards are
Jeez.
higher. Now my standards are higher.
There go the standards.
If a girl told me that, I mean, would it hurt my feelings? Probably when I was younger. Yeah. I mean, it would hurt my feelings a little bit, but the
Yeah.
reality is you need to know. Like if you're not doing it right and no woman is telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I was talking to my wife the other day about this podcast and we were going to do it. And
Yeah.
she was asking questions. And I was joking around and I said, remember your ex, the Minuteman, And she says to me, do you know that he's been through multiple divorces? And I'm like,
Wonder why.
wow. And I feel bad for the guy because he seems like he's a nice guy.
Nobody told him.
Nobody told him. And I'll bet you that's the problem.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to get over, honestly, because like back to like the rejection aspect of it, it's like, okay, well, I feel kind of used at this point. Like you used me to get your rocks off, and here I am kind of like feeling like you don't have the same thought for me.
It was.
Yeah, you're not putting the effort in.
No, not at all. And it's like, if you like just
It was probably not healthy as a teenager, but I grew up in a digital age
Mhm.
where everything was just on my phone. So like by the time like it was go time, I felt like I had watched like every video in the book to understand.
You had some
that-
education?
I can relate to you
Yeah,
on that.
beyond
though, like,
sex ed, like I don't know. But
But that doesn't excuse all the other generation.
still there's even still to this day, there's people that just don't even think about that. Like a
No.
woman's satisfaction, it's not even in the mind when sex comes up, and that's not the way to think about it.
No, because we're both in this together. You know, like if you want to go have sex with yourself, go have sex with yourself. Like leave me out of it. Don't disturb my peace.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're trying to,
You
if you're
know?
looking for
Yeah.
something a little more intimate,
I don't know, but
Like if you're wanting to actually like have intimacy and not just like carnal sex, like here, let's do it together. But if you're like just gonna be like, oh okay, let me do my thing, I'm gonna go take a shower now.
But
Have fun
that
laying
also
on the bed
screams
by
to me.
yourself.
That also might scream to me that this person may or may not have had experience under their belt.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, it could happen to anybody where they insert and then they have a feeling like, you know what I'm saying?
Like
so,
it's amazing and it
exactly.
it was too
Like
soon,
it was
yeah.
designed by God to do that.
But
so,
here's where it's wrong though. The moment the man is like, "Oh, I'm good,"
Yeah.
that's where it's wrong.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself, right? Your goal is not 60 seconds. It's hours if you can. Now, I know that's hard to achieve, but the idea is that that's what you're aiming for. And
60 minutes.
Yeah.
Not 60
I'm not
seconds.
saying that it should be long all the time,
No, but
but our mindset should be longer than if
Yeah.
you're doing it and it's within a 5-minute interval, you're doing something wrong.
like honestly, you could be lacking in a lot of things in a relationship as a man. Like you could maybe not be like the most thoughtful all the time, and there are certain things that women will overlook if you just finish them off.
If you compensate.
They're like I don't want to say that as a way to like escape accountability for like really important things in relationships, but I'm just saying, like, if you have that thoughtfulness for her pleasure, there will be things and like circumstances that she may overlook because
It's so good.
Take notes,
because
fellas.
she knows that you're gonna take care of her.
Okay.
I don't mean that to say like go do bad things and like cheat on her and none of that.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking you were thinking that.
It's just
I'm talking
I was like,
about
don't buy flowers and
yeah,
It's
you
like-
might you might not
things.
get the cussed out for not getting flowers if you're thoughtful later on.
Mhm.
So just be thoughtful.
she might overlook the fact that you didn't do the dishes and you didn't take out the trash. It's like, oh, okay, I guess it's okay this time.
Jeez
Interesting.
Louise,
I'm learning a lot.
I'm learning
See,
stuff
reciprocity. You take care of each other in one way,
Yeah.
then she'll take care of you in this way. It's like it doesn't have to be the same.
Hmm.
As
too.
long
It
as
still
the
seems
effort's there.
transactional. It does seem
Okay.
transactional though.
Most relationships, whether it be romantic or just
It could still be intimate and
friendships,
transactional.
are transactional.
I will tell you, after 20 years, it's really hard to have, when you're intimate, it's really hard to have a continuous, passionate every time scenario when you're having intercourse.
Yeah.
It's
I can imagine,
hard. It's
especially
really hard.
having a family as well. Like,
where do you
where
find
do you
the
find
time?
the time for
Yeah.
intimacy like that? Just genuine intimacy.
It's none of your business.
Oh no. I'm so happy I don't live in this house with you guys.
No, but you're right. It's really hard to find the time. It's really hard to because it's got to be the right time for her, the right time for you, and it's hard. It's
If
really
one
hard.
of you has a